All right, y'all, let me spill the tea on my stepsister in just 7 words. Cringe alert. She is a total koreaboo. Yeah, I said it loud and clear for the first time. Her friends can hype her cringe behavior all they want, but she is nuts with her obsession with everything Korean. Most of the time, it sounds borderline creepy and disrespectful. Now you have got a peek into her whole persona. I bet that 85% of you are spot on with your wild guesses. But hold up, let us take it even further. Imagine that koreaboo obsession mixed with a dash of ungratefulness, a sprinkle of rudeness, and a whole lot of obnoxiousness. Then you have my grandfather. Old and dealing with Alzheimer's. That is 95% of the picture right there. So, before I dive into the details, let me throw a question at you. What would you do if you had a stepsister like mine? Trust me, by the time you finish reading this, you will get where I am coming from. So, when you are done here, ask yourself, what in the world would I do if I were in her shoes? Hi, I am Maria, F23, and until a couple of weeks ago, I lived alone with my grandfather, Richard, M74. The reason I no longer live alone with him is because of my stepsister, Sara, F27, who barged in unannounced at Grandpa's place one late evening. She had several things to say, but the moment she saw me, she went tight-lipped. It was as if she was rethinking her explanations about why she had come over to his place. It was kind of funny, not gonna lie. Maybe my presence changed her mind, I would not know. My family drama could rival any soap opera. Let us start with the basics, but do not worry. I will not bore you with the details. Picture this, my parents are in a seriously messed up, abusive relationship. I am not saying I was cool with it, but they had some seriously messed up issues. They fought, argued, and slung insults like it was a sport. And this was not some occasional thing. This was a monthly affair. I grew up watching this madness, turning into a young woman while they stayed stuck in their toxic cycle. But guess what? Eventually, they just stopped. No more drama, no more attempts to destroy each other. It was like they suddenly forgot the other existed. I still cannot figure out what changed, and honestly, I do not think I ever will. One minute, they were desperate to be together, and the next, they could not stand the sight of each other. And just when I thought my teenage angst was enough, bam, the divorce bomb dropped. Not that I was shocked, though. I kind of saw it coming. So they went through the whole divorce thing and won joint custody, but here's the kicker. I was practically an adult by then, so I said, "Peace out, you crazy people." Then my grandpa swooped in, God bless him. He was handling his own stuff, but he still managed to offer me a haven. So guess where I ended up? Yep, you got it. Grandpa's place, where the only drama present was Kim Kardashian's. Oh boy, you thought the family drama ended? Nah, it is about to get wilder. So my dad, the only child of my grandpa, was his pride and joy. But one day, he drops the bombshell that he is marrying his longtime girlfriend. And oh man, did all hell break loose. Grandpa lost his cool faster than a melting popsicle in a tropical country. And here is the kicker. Turns out my dad, the master of deception, had been cheating on my mom all along. Surprise, surprise, right? But wait, there is more. He not only had a secret long-term girlfriend, but also a daughter older than me. Yeah, you heard that right. His cheating escapades were not exactly new. My dad was just a pro at hiding it. Now, you can imagine how well that went down with Grandpa. He was already struggling with the divorce, and now his son's betrayal shattered what was left of his self-respect. So, what does Grandpa do? He makes a swift, no-nonsense decision. He kicks my dad out of his will. No questions asked. Ouch, right? Family ties, more like family lies and deception. Welcome to my circus of a life, people. It was a weird play of fate, but who was I to say anything? I cared for him and helped him in his deteriorating situation after my dad refused to help him, and care for him after getting his well-deserved karma. That meant I did my schooling, graduation, and my first job, all the while handling my grandpa. I am not saying we were doing financially bad. Grandpa had a huge home and his pension was pretty good too. But hey, I was not about to ride out my entire life on his hard-earned cash, you feel me? So, I hustled and did my thing. I managed to open up a flower shop. Yeah, you might think, big deal, it is just a flower shop. But for me, it was a triumph. Heck, even Grandpa was proud of me. Imagine that, a cool flower shop owner in the making, all while dealing with life's craziness. You gotta find your wins where you can, right? LOL. Let me tell you about Sara, my oh-so-charming stepsister. Our interactions were as rare as a blue moon. We would occasionally cross paths at Grandpa's place, and that was the extent of our quality bonding time. Just like my dad, she could not care less about Grandpa's failing health. Classic, right? From our brief encounters, I gathered a few tidbits about her. She is mean-spirited, her priorities are seriously messed up, and she is as superficial as they come. But hey, credit where it is due, she does have a nice voice. So, not everything about her is a total disaster, I guess? But oh boy, she has taken a nosedive into the abyss of awfulness in recent years. Picture this, she has become vindictive, even meaner, verbally abusive, and sometimes she does not shy away from getting physical. And get this, she is a loudmouth who thinks she knows better than everyone else. Ever met someone who just cannot shut up and thinks their opinion is the gospel truth? Yeah, that is Sara in a nutshell. Annoying? Oh, you have no idea. Plain and simple. Oh, this tale is a roller coaster of frustration and heartache. You know, it is not just the usual sibling rivalry that is getting under my skin. It is the dire situation with Grandpa that is really grinding my gears. His Alzheimer's? You guessed it. Classic case, right? But it is not the worst you read about in the headlines, though it is bad enough. He forgets stuff and struggles to remember, but it is not a full-blown scary thing. At least, not yet. But here is where Sara enters the scene and my blood boils. I have already spilled the tea that neither my dad nor Sara gives a damn about Grandpa. They could not care less unless they were handed a fat paycheck. And remember how Grandpa kicked my dad out of the will? That really ruffled his feathers. What does his dear daughter do? She takes a horrible step. I am not sure if it was intentional or unintentional. When I could not take Grandpa to his checkup for reasons I cannot share here, I trusted Sara with the responsibility. Big mistake. She decided it was a brilliant idea to abandon him in the morning rush, leaving him clueless and panicking because his memory was already betraying him. It took us 5 hours to locate him, battered and robbed. Can you believe the audacity? She shattered my trust like it was a joke, leaving Grandpa in a vulnerable state. Talk about a betrayal of epic proportions. So yeah, she is not just annoying, she is downright heartless. Oh, ever since that incident, I have had a personal score to settle with her. I cannot say for sure if it was a malicious plot or just a colossal screw-up on her part, but I never forgave her for what she did. Grandpa might have forgotten it over time, but not before he made some major, undisclosed decision. He never told me the truth, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things we are talking about here, it probably does not matter. Then came her half-hearted apology, complete with a blueberry cake. And here is the kicker. Grandpa is allergic to blueberries. Now you tell me, was that a carefully planned move or just another one of her accidents? Take a wild guess. After that catastrophe, things did not go full-blown disaster mode again, but she sure had a knack for leaving Grandpa unattended whenever he stepped out. Sometimes it worked out fine, but her words, sharper than a double-edged sword. She would throw impolite and downright hurtful comments around like confetti. Her attitude, unbearable, especially in front of Grandpa. I have made it clear, loud and clear, that I cannot stand her anywhere near my Grandpa. I would prefer to keep her at a distance. But you know how life is, it never really pans out the way you want, right? Just like she and her mom wrecked my family and stole my dad, she seems hell-bent on doing the same to Grandpa. It is like some twisted, real-life soap opera that never ends. So there I was, minding my own business, when she walked in, claiming she had some city business and nowhere else to crash. Newsflash. My dad is just an hour away, but hey, who am I to argue with her logic, right? Then, out of the blue, she flips her story like a pancake. Suddenly, it is not about her city plans, but her unplanned pregnancy. Classic move, right? And get this. She spills the whole tale to my Grandpa. According to her, it was a drunken escapade, and now that she is knocked up, she is scared her parents will freak out. Oh, and did I mention she is supposedly 5 months pregnant? Yeah, right. She does not even look like it. Grandpa, bless his heart, still coughed up some cash for her. It has been over a week, and she is still camped out in our lives. People, should I be hitting the panic button here? I am 110% convinced she is spinning a web of lies. If I manage to expose her, what is my next move, huh? Would you, in your right mind, let someone like her anywhere near your Grandpa? because frankly, I am leaning towards a big fat no. Top comments. I cannot say if she is pregnant or not, but she is definitely an $. Clearly, after everything she has done, your grandfather is not safe around her. Why are you even letting her stay? Kick her out. I am sure she has something stupid planned. That's how most of these cases go anyway. Who knows if you are dealing with the same kind of stepsister? Step-siblings are never good news. Period. In all my 39 years of life, I have never heard a single appropriate happy ending. Step-sibling story. Trust me, if you are so soused of her behavior, she is not good news. If she changed her reason within a few weeks, what are the chances that she is not hiding something else as well? As some of the comments here said, dig deeper instead of bitching about it here. Update. 1. Can you believe she has casually swindled over $10K from Grandpa in just a few weeks? Yeah, I know, we have got a rich grandpa on our hands, but seriously, this is way past the line. And here is the thing. Even if she is pregnant, what on earth is she doing with all that cash? Grandpa has always been a bit loose with his purse strings, so I'm not shocked that he does not question her much. He is so wrapped up in his health woes that he opens his heart the moment someone extends a helping hand. He is a giving soul, you know. But here is the real issue. Sara's attitude. She takes the money, puts on this grateful act, and by nightfall, it is like it never happened. Wake up the next morning and bam, there is another demand. Grandpa's stuck in this loop where he either pays up or asks her to wait, depending on whether he remembers it by the end of the day or not. And guess what? If he does not, Sara gets a little vindictive. It is like dealing with a relentless money vacuum disguised as a human being. What I would not give to slam the brakes on this whole train wreck. Seriously, it is beyond frustrating. Oh, you are probably scratching your head, wondering why I am letting this circus continue, huh? Believe me, I have asked myself the same question a million times. There is absolutely zero reason for Sara to be here, mooching off Grandpa's cash and strutting around like she is the queen of the universe. But here's the kicker. We had a major showdown about it. I mean, epic shouting match level. Usually, Grandpa's accent and that hilarious apologetic face of his would have cracked me up, but not this time. This time, it was deadly serious. And you know why? Because right in the middle of our fiery exchange, Sara dropped a bomb that left me convinced she was up to something sinister. She blurted out, "And I kid you not that she is doing all this because my dear old dad apparently needs it. Can you believe the audacity?" It was like she dropped a hint so obvious it practically smacked us in the face. And guess what? One of the top comments echoed my suspicion. Turns out I was not alone in my skepticism, and for good reason. I have got my eyes on her, and I am not about to let her sneak her way through this mess. Well, now that is something that we need to think about, no? I really do not know if my grandpa heard it, but I did, and it was very obvious she knew that too. She immediately slapped a hand over her mouth, stared at me for a long minute, and then asked Grandpa if he had taken his medicine. Of course, he had not. He had not even eaten his dinner. She did not care for anything, though, and without waiting for an answer, she strolled into the room assigned to her and slammed the door. I grinned. I knew I had a loser on my hands. I honestly would not have given her much thought if she had not started talking trash to my grandpa and then tried her manipulative games on my boyfriend. Now picture this. She is already a jerk about the whole situation, not to mention being a cheater and everything. And then she had the audacity to be racially offensive. Remember how I mentioned she is a koreaboo? Well, this dimwit thought my boyfriend was Korean and decided to unleash her ignorance. Little did she know, he was Japanese. Yep, completely different countries. And no, he does not know much about Korea's mandatory military service, just the superficial stuff like most people. But did she stop there? Oh no, that would have been too sensible. Instead, she went on a full-blown rant, picking random words from whatever anime she had been reading. It was beyond embarrassing. I mean, the cringe factor was off the charts. She seriously needs a reality check, but I doubt that is ever going to happen. Fueled by my anger, I stormed over to my dad's place to figure out what the hell they were all plotting. There was no way Sara just randomly dropped my dad's name without a solid reason, right? Plus, the timing of it all was way too fishy. And you know what? My suspicions were bang on. The lawn was a jungle of weeds, clearly untouched for ages. And the state of his home? It was a disaster, like it had either been through a wreck or had not seen a proper furnishing in centuries. I felt a pang of sympathy, but honestly, not too much. Since the divorce and my choice to stick with my grandpa, both my mom and dad conveniently vanished from my life. It was as if they were celebrating their newfound freedom from reminders of their past relationship. I cannot vouch for the validity of their reasoning, but I will not deny it left a bitter taste in my mouth. Maybe that bitterness is why I come off as snarky and overly excited in this post. And maybe, just maybe, that is also why I cannot stand Sara. She seemed to be the one showered with affection. Well, here is a good laugh for them. All that love showered on her, and she turned out to be nothing but a colossal loser. Karma, anyone? It is funny how life works, is it not? I found myself wrestling with what to do about this entire mess. Sure, informing my grandpa would be the right thing to do, but how much of it could he really absorb? He was already in his 70s, his memory slipping away faster than sand through his fingers. I knew one thing for certain. Sara was not interested in just $10K. Something deeper, something darker was brewing within her family. I just could not put my finger on it. And to add to the circus, she had her own drama playing out. Dreams of going to Korea and snagging herself a Korean boyfriend. But none of that was possible without cash. Could it all be connected? Maybe, just maybe, she is not even pregnant. Perhaps it is all a grand fabrication. Or if she is, could that be just the tip of the iceberg? My head was spinning with questions, and I felt like I was standing at a crossroads with no signs to guide me. Guys, seriously, where am I supposed to go from here? Update 2. All right, let us get straight to the heart of this twisted tale because time is ticking and I have a meeting with my grandpa's lawyer in 25 minutes. So, here goes nothing. Money was the driving force behind all this madness. Not just for Sara, but for my dad and his new wife too. It was all part of their grand scheme. I did not meet my dad when I went to check on him. His living conditions spoke volumes. Combined with Sara's money-hungry antics, it all added up. But it was not until Sara left for one of her meetings that I snuck into her room. Yeah, do not judge me. It was absolutely necessary to find out what she was plotting. Lucky for me, her laptop was wide open, no password protection. Facebook was there, and voila. I hit the jackpot right there in the chat with my dad. Granted, I did not see the whole picture, just bits and pieces, but it was enough to connect the dots. Remember when I told you my grandpa cut my dad out of his will? Well, my dad was fuming about it. Without grandpa's financial support, he had zilch saved for the future, and he was banking on his inheritance. But now that he was out of the will, he convinced Sara to worm her way into grandpa's heart. Too bad for him, Sara was not exactly the most patient or intelligent person to pin such high hopes on. She messed up right in front of the one person who had been by grandpa's side the longest in recent times, me. She played her cards, and she played them poorly, right under my watchful eyes. At first, the chat was friendly and confident. All three of them sounded like the police's greatest headache. Their plans looked solid, and it was obvious they believed Sara would be able to win a huge amount of inheritance by just making up lies. For some moments, though, she almost did. My grandpa had already sent some $25K in her account, excluding the $10K I talked about before. But now I knew what she was up to. So I made some plans in my head. She even mentioned one conversation she had with my grandpa in my absence. Apparently, it was about his inheritance. She wrote to my dad that she had discussed it with my grandpa, and he promised to pay her something. She sounded elated in the chat, but I was going batshit crazy. But that was not all. Apparently, she was running group orders for K-pop and K-drama related things as well. It is basically when a person takes the responsibility of handling large orders from a particular country, and for multiple people, hence the name. Typically, it helps by reducing a lot of international shipping prices, which could oftentimes be bigger than the actual price of the item. A headache, really. Anyway, she was running one big order until she was not. In simpler words, she had stolen the money. She had scammed 47 people in this single order, the amount totaling over $12K. This was marvelous. The proof was right there. I recorded it all and copied the entire thing. She had other proof in her different folders as well. She was smart, but not that smart. If only she had remembered to put a password in this. And then there was another thing. Hidden under her mattress, which for whatever reason I thought I should do, I found my grandpa's credit card. Crime after crime. Psst. This whole situation is a testament to her idiocy and utter disrespect. She is so obsessed with Korea that she is resorting to scamming people for money. It is mind-boggling, honestly. I do not know how much my dad and her mom are involved in this, but, oh dear God, someone chose the wrong way of handling these kinds of situations. I immediately talked to my grandpa about it, and though he could not understand much, let us blame his poor hearing and old age, he called his lawyer. He told him there is a situation, and that his granddaughter needed to say something. His lawyer booked the day, and that is where I am heading right now. I sure will be back. Let me see how it goes. Update 3. Oh, you have got to hear this one. My grandpa? Total Chad, no kidding. I mean, I cannot think of any other way to describe the epic stunt he pulled all those years ago. So, not only did he boot my dad out of his will, but get this. In a burst of either rage or sheer grandparental fondness, he made me the sole beneficiary. Yep, you heard that right. Everything's coming my way. Not my dad, and definitely not his daughter, Sara. Now, I am still wrapping my head around what this means for my life because, honestly, living with Grandpa has been smooth sailing. He treated me like his own, showering me with love and giving me everything I needed. And in return, I cared for him, calling his doctor or nurse if things got a little too serious. But here's the real deal. I found all this out after a little chat with his lawyer. According to him, there is no chance in hell that anyone else would get a dime. It is all mine, a reward for standing by Grandpa's side when my dad messed up big time. Talk about a plot twist, huh? You will not believe the circus they created, all for nothing. I will break it down for you, just so you know how utterly pointless their efforts were. After this, I am closing the chapter on this mess for good. It has dragged on for way too long anyway. So, my dad, left with nothing after Grandpa booted him out, tried to salvage his future. His colleagues, in all their wisdom, lack thereof, advised him to invest. But here's the deal. They conveniently forgot to mention the golden rule. Put money in and leave it alone. Nope. They thought buying and selling constantly was the way to go. Surprise, surprise, it is not. He ended up losing everything he had left, and to compensate, he worked himself into a frenzy. Then there's Sara, with her extravagant dreams and the sinking ship of her parents' finances. Her genius plan? Dig into Grandpa's life. Little did she know she had not counted on me or Grandpa's foresight. Her bright idea. Fabricate a pregnancy story to make her situation sound dire. The thing is, she did not even have a boyfriend, let alone any random hookups. It was all a web of lies, as empty as their schemes. Talk about a comedy of errors, right? Well, they played their cards, and now they have got nothing but a losing hand. So Sara, in her brilliant wisdom, decided to start a business. Go. As I mentioned in my last post, people placed orders, and the temptation of $12,000 proved to be too much for her supposed moral compass. Surprise, surprise, morality lost that battle. She scammed her customers, and I did not let her get away with it. I shared the proof of her scam with her customers, showing that she had not bought a single thing with their money. As a result, PayPal blacklisted her, and both the police and PayPal are breathing down her neck. She is in hot water, big time. Though knowing how these things go, she might just get away with a fine. Who knows? As for her parents, they are no angels either. Sara had stolen Grandpa's credit card to cover some of their expenses, and now that it is all out in the open, they are facing their own set of charges. So, needless to say, there is not a silver lining in sight for them. It is all downhill from here. In the midst of this chaos, there is not much news on my grandpa, to be honest. You know how it is with Alzheimer's. It is a constant battle, and it might just get worse as he grows older. But hey, the silver lining for me, I am still by his side. That is something, right? And to all of you who have been reading and commenting, sharing your thoughts and understanding the chaos, I appreciate you. Your sensible words have been a beacon of sanity in this whirlwind. Here is to hoping the storm finally settles. Thank you, truly. Top comments. As the post progressed, it got progressively bad lol tbh. I am definitely sad about your grandpa. It sounds like a headache to be old. So much drama and you don't understand shit. He is definitely Chad, though pulling a stunt like that lol. Maybe your stepsister should go to jail. Doing all that. It is bad, it is very bad. I keep losing hope in the new generation so much. Something is definitely going horribly wrong. Not to mention the attitude problems. It's so annoying. Sara freaked me out. Only 27 and still so cunning. I hate koreaboos so much. EWW, they disgust the hell out of me. How do you get so bad? For kick. She deserves that shot. And worse, they freak me out. Plus a scammer. A total disaster, honestly.